Hello everyone and welcome to a very nice game from round 1 of this year's British Chess Championship. It comes as a suggestion from Saiganish2108, so thank you for such a lovely game. And it's not your usual clash of two super strong grandmasters, rather we have not a David versus Goliath. Here we have a game where David is the Goliath. And David, a former 2700 player himself, nowadays mostly focuses on commentating, but from time to time he does indulge in a classical event as the British Chess Championship. He is the 3-time British chess champion, and he is the youngest person from Britain ever to achieve the title of Grandmaster at the age of 16 years old. And his opponent here is Jacob Connor Boswell. As I understand it, he's untitled, but 2241, not a bad player. So let's see the difference between a 2241 and a Grandmaster. How little tiny inaccuracies over a couple of moves can lead to just an outright game-winning advantage. So let's dive straight into it. So Jacob with white opens with pawn to d4. We have knight to f6 by David, pawn to c4, pawn to e6, and knight to f3. Jacob goes for the anti-Nimzo setup and not going for knight to c3 to allow bishop to b4. And usually this is met with something like bishop to e7 or pawn to d5 or pawn to b6, everyone's favorite, the Queen's Indian defense. We have g3, bishop to a6, and now pawn to b3. The bishop is coming to g2, so okay, you're putting pressure on c4, but everyone knows that this bishop is coming back to b7 at some point. We have bishop to b4 with check, bishop to d2, and bishop to e7. We have knight to c3 and pawn to d5. C captures on d5, e captures on d5, and bishop to g2. We have castles kingside, and knight b to d7. Knight to e5, and now bishop back to b7. So this has all been played before, nothing new here. We could easily start the game from this position. We have bishop to f4, also the top move in the position, rook to e8, and now rook to c1. So you can see both of them playing fairly fast. Okay, Jacob did spend some half an hour reaching this position. David maybe some 5 minutes. Probably it was a matter of going to the bathroom, maybe just grabbed a sandwich or something, as I'm, well, pretty sure that David knows these positions very well. Knight to f8, we have knight to d3, and now knight to e6. Sort of the first thing of the game for David. Took him some 10 minutes to go knight e6. We have bishop to e5, and now there are some games where c6 was played. Also knight to g4 is an own move, but here we have rook to c8, and it is now as of move 15 that we have a completely new game. And you can see that David spent some 20 minutes playing this, so I don't think it was a matter of a preparation, but rather over the board decision. So okay, we have knight to f4, offering a trade of knights, and David obliges. We have knight captures, bishop captures, and queen to d7. Developing the queen, connecting rooks, and the queen now has access to the king side if needed. We have queen to d3, activating the queen, connecting rooks, and also gaining support for that pawn to being pushed to e4. We have pawn to h6, and now rook f to d1. We have pawn to c6, and queen to b1. Probably preparing pawn to b4 to stop pawn to c5. So David plays bishop to b4, stops b4 this way, and we have bishop to f3. Also, by playing bishop to b4, David unleashed an attack on that e2 pawn. So you might be considering bishop captures knight on c3 and then just rook captures on e2. And here comes the first inaccuracy of the game. We could say you should defend with queen to d3. Idea being that bishop to f3 also defends the pawn, but it allows bishop to e6. Queen to d3, while it defends the pawn, stops further harassment of the pawn via bishop to e6. So okay, bishop to e6 goes after the e2 pawn, queen to b2, and now pawn to g5. Very nicely played by David. Bishop back to e3, and now rook to e7. The engine really likes queen to h3 here, point being that the engine wants to win the bishop pair. For example, after rook to e1, adding more support to the e2 pawn, knight to g4, threatening queen captures on h2, and then you have to trade captures, and okay, you enjoyed the bishop pair. But David has a different idea. He first goes rook e7, wants to double up on the e file, queen to d2, and now king to h8. Probably he wanted to avoid bishop captures on g5. Not probably, most likely, because if you just double up here, then once bishop captures on g5 is played, you have to play bishop captures on c3. If you just captures with check, you win back the knight, and the white is now winning here. So after this queen to d2 move, we have king to h8. Now bishop to g5, no longer a threat. We have pawn to h4. Jacob goes after David's king. We have knight to g4, and now bishop captures on g4. Interestingly, bishop captures on g5 is also one of the engine stop moves, but it doesn't really do all that much. It's just that it's already a winning position for David. Bishop captures on g4. We have queen captures on g4, and now h captures on g5. And what's interesting about this position is that there's only one move that wins cleanly for black. There's only one move that you can say that, okay, this is now objectively winning for black, and that's where you guys come in. Feel free to pause the video and find this move while I give you a couple of seconds. Yes, rook to g8 is very nice, but it is not the move that we are talking about here. The move is actually rook c to e8. So you can see that it wasn't enough to create these small threats that were allowed via the accuracies that Jacob committed, but also you had to use brute force to calculate this and find why this is the winning idea. And it's the winning idea for so many reasons. Just to give you an example of, if you capture on g5, of course, bishop captures, and even though you can capture on e2 and the knight is pinned, doesn't really matter. Queen f4, and it's an equal position. You have to trade queens now because the rook is hanging, captures, and it's equal material and equal position. But after rook c to e8, it is much different, as there is a true threat in the position. But interestingly, David doesn't go for it. I mean, the idea that David went for is just as winning, only I thought this was, very nice for you guys to enjoy. So in the game, a3 was played. a3 with the idea of meeting rook captures on e3 with a captures on b4. Point being that, of course, you don't want to capture with the f-pawn. But then again, what are you going to do? Capture with the queen? Okay, maybe you can give up the queen for 2 rooks. It's not unheard of. But there's a problem here. Rook captures on e3. And now after a captures on b4, rook captures on g3, and after f captures, queen captures on g3, and after king to f1, it seems that black runs out of steam, but look at this, rook to e3. And you're probably thinking, but okay, what is rook to e3 even doing? Well, the e pawn is pinned, and there's no good defense against rook to f3 checkmate. Is just, it's just beautiful. And I'm sure you guys are wondering, but isn't b5 just defending this? Well, yes, but if b5, then black gets an extra move. Bishop to c8, and now there's no defense against bishop to h3 checkmate. So it's a nice, a way to brute force matters, but David goes for a similar win in terms of simplicity. Bishop captures on c3, rook captures on c3, and just bishop captures on e2. And now he's saying, I don't want to calculate this. I have 2 minutes on the clock. I'm just going to play bishop f3, queen h3, and checkmate the white king. There is absolutely nothing Jacob can do here. So rook d to c1 and bishop to f3. So is there any defense against queen h3, queen g2 checkmate? There is one. Rook captures on c6. Now, you can't really go queen h3 because rook captures on h6 check would win the black queen. But what you can do is what David played. Rook to e6, and that's all there is. You have to trade, or you don't trade, doesn't really matter. Queen h3, queen g2 will be checkmate. Captures was played. Queen captures. If you go rook captures, then maybe some queen b4, queen to f8 nonsense might be possible. But just queen captures on e6, and you're just going to go back. Queen h3 and queen g2 checkmate. So bishop to f4 was played, but just queen to h3, and he was in this position on move 33 that Jacob Connor Boswell resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. You can play one check, but after that, that's pretty much it. King g8, there are no more checks, there are no more tricks. Queen to h1, whatever white plays will be checkmate on the next move. So yeah, really wonderful game. Thank you for recommending it. And it all started here in this position where it seems like it's not as relevant, but your e2 pawn is hanging. It matters a lot how you defend it. If you play queen d3, there's no follow-up. If you play bishop to f3, then there's a very nice follow-up. And although maybe this wasn't the cause of Jacob's demise, it definitely helped. I don't know if I mentioned this is an old photo of Jacob some 5 years ago. I just couldn't find a newer one. I think he's like 22 now, but yeah. I couldn't find a newer photo. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it and that you were able to find that very nice idea. I would like to thank Vicky Hackney, Meadow, the Super Chess Dog, Darren Little, Jerry Driver, and the Animated Chemist for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. Also, Animated Chemist said something very interesting. He said that if you are interested in increasing your vast knowledge, I just uploaded a video where I tried to see if everyone on Lichess has played all possible chess moves. I won't spoil everything, but I now know that White has played b2, b4 in over 1.1 billion times, and b2 to b4 checkmate over 430,000 times. So that is only a part of it. But if you guys are interested in stuff like that, definitely do check it out. And of course, he says, enjoy the rest of your day. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions such as this one and everything else that happens in the chess world. So thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.